Good morning, Prepper Nation. Good rainy morning. It's sprinkling rain. I love it. It's not as cold as yesterday. It just feels good out here. So I can deal with that. How safe is the Second Amendment here in the United States? We're going to talk about that in just a moment. Before we do, I want to thank a few people, as always, because they make it happen. Rhonda, Michelle, Christy Hardy, huge thank you. Cheryl, Paula, Christy M. These folks donated via PayPal. They've bought my coffee for the foreseeable future. And the newest patrons over on Patreon, $1 a month, by the way. Tanya, Rhonda, Susan, Lena, Amy, Christy, Michelle, Fred, and Christy M. Guys, the ladies are killing you here. I'm just saying. Thank you very much for the donations and the patronage over on Patreon. Yeah. So, how safe is our Second Amendment here in the United States? It's been under attack for some while, for some time, right? So I wake up this morning and I'm like, usually when my feet hit the floor, I already know what I'm going to talk about, ramble about, whatever you want to call it. But this morning I had no idea. My feet hit the floor and I'm like, pumpkin spice coffee, which is awesome, by the way. But I start reading news articles, mainstream news on Fox and CNN. I try to read both and then kind of find the truth in the middle. It's in there somewhere. And I see a bunch of politicians out west complaining because citizens are now taking things into their own hands to protect themselves. And so a huge shout out to 3 governors out west. Maybe you've heard of these folks. Gavin Newsom, familiar name, right? Kate Brown, Jay Inslee. You 3 folks are my heroes right now because what you've done essentially is you have guaranteed that the Second Amendment will stay in place for the next 100 years because of your dereliction of duty. You see, when you're in charge, when you're in power, your number one job is not to tax people. Your number one job is to protect people. And when you can't do that, in fact, when you go out of your way not to do that, then you have no right to tell someone else they cannot protect themselves. That's just the way it works. So I think this was, I think Gavin Newsom, I want to say that I read on mainstream media this morning. Apparently, now whether these are 3%ers, whether these are local citizens out west, I'm not sure. I'm not out west. But they are setting up checkpoints, blocking off their neighborhoods basically. And they're IDing people at gunpoint to make sure that the people coming in are not coming in for mischief, to set fires and cut down power lines and things like that. So the setting of fires does not seem to bother these governors. The cutting down of power poles, they don't seem to care too much about that. But now that citizens have taken it upon themselves to protect their own neighborhoods, now these governors are enraged, which I find funny, to be honest with you. One of the mainstream articles I saw this morning, again, mainstream, take it with a grain of salt, right? Is that, what was it? Conspiracy theories. Local police departments are having to battle whatever it was, fires, and also conspiracy theories, the biggest being that Antifa is behind the mischief. Even though there have been 30 plus arrests, these people have been charged with arson or, attempting to commit arson. One of these arrests, maybe you've seen the video online, lady, a patriot, Latino woman, I believe, and gun owner. She had a gun with her. She caught one of these people in the act. She pulled out, I think it was a 9mm, and she detained this person. Caught him red-handed. Detained him in the middle of the road, had him lay down in the middle of the road at gunpoint till the police got there. I'm not sure how this can be considered a conspiracy theory when you literally get caught with your hand in the cookie jar. It's not a conspiracy theory. There's some conspiracy going on, but it's not on the side of the average citizen. And it's definitely not a theory when it's been proven time and again, 30 times over, as a matter of fact. Here's the deal, and here's something that these governors fail to realize. The government, whether it's state, whether it's local, whether it's federal, they do not get to determine, they do not get to dictate whether or not we get to protect ourselves. The moment we are born into this world, no matter what you believe religiously, okay, it's a God-given right. But once you're born, you have certain rights that the government does not have the right to supersede. And one of these is you have the right to protect yourself, right? Which leads me to the police. Most police officers are excellent police officers. I back the blue. I understand that they have a very tough job. They get to play social worker now on top of, busting criminals. However, out west, a lot of these police departments, especially in the bigger cities, have made their choice. They were given, look, they swore an oath, okay? They're supposed to protect and serve. But at the end of the day, police officers are there to protect and serve the local governments, period, all right? And so when the mayors of these bigger cities out west, they give them, the directive to stand down, even though citizens, innocent people, are being put at risk, these police departments are standing down. Now, there are some good cops that have just resigned, and kudos to those folks. They didn't want to put up with the nonsense, I suppose. But at the end of the day, what these local governments are telling us is we can't protect you, and we're directing the police departments here also not to protect you. So what other choice do you have at this point? Right? You have one other option, and that is to protect yourself. Now, what's the best way to do that? Firearms, right? So thank you for protecting the Second Amendment for us. These governors, and there are others, but these three idiots have done more to secure gun rights for the next century or more than the NRA could have done in 20 years, right? You remember how they demonized the NRA, and I'm not saying the NRA's 100% on the level. I don't know. But I do know that these three folks, they might as well be lobbying in Washington, D.C. for gun rights at this point. Because any citizen with any sort of intelligence whatsoever, what is the national average before the riots and the chaos? It was like 8 minutes, right? 7 or 8 minutes from the time you call 911 until the time the police get there. That's a long time, folks. Somebody's kicking in the door to your house, you have 7 or 8 minutes to defend yourself. How you gonna do it? Wasp spray? I mean, seriously, how you gonna do it? And now on top of that, they're saying, well, the police aren't gonna protect you either. So you need to own a gun, is what I'm getting at here, folks, if you can find one at this point. And that leads us to the bigger picture, and I'm going to tie this into prepping, believe it or not. What has happened is the United States was on its heels, and let's be honest with ourselves, both sides of the aisle for a second. The figureheads of the Democratic Party and the figureheads of the Republican Party don't care about the average person. I mean, they just don't, okay? I know that's probably going to piss off a few people on the right, but it's true. At the end of the day, Donald Trump may be the better choice between these two candidates, but yeah, he may care more about you than Joe Biden, but at the end of the day, he's super rich and he hangs with the super rich, and you're just an average Joe like me. So it is what it is. These two parties are funded by billionaires with a B. That's who the candidates are worried about. Okay? And what is going on is all of this stuff has been weaponized. The COVID has been weaponized. Now the COVID is the real deal, but it has been weaponized by the left. I truly believe that. And on top of this, we have Antifa coming in, the comrades coming in, trying to cause all of this destruction and chaos. And what this was meant to be was an attempt to bring this country to its knees. And instead, what I see happening is I see a large majority of this country, we're still red-blooded Americans. Whether we're Democrats or Republicans, at the end of the day, most Americans, most hardworking, tax-paying Americans, do not want to see this country fall, will not see this country fall. And actually what I see happening is a unification throughout this country. I see people from the East Coast going out west to help these folks, right? The same way that people out west probably traveled, or people from Texas probably traveled. Remember, I think it was earlier this year or late last year in Virginia. Remember the whole gun deal there, the Second Amendment deal with, can't remember the governor's name, the blackface guy. You guys know who I'm talking about, Northam. Yeah, so patriots are unifying across the country. It's having the opposite effect that these billionaires were hoping for, and that's great news. Unfortunately, it's also bad news, because these billionaires understand, especially on the left, they understand that Biden's toast at this point. I mean, if the trend continues, Biden's going to get thumped, okay? That's different. So yeah, they understand Biden is toast. So the problem here with that is, what are they going to do about it? Are they going to sit on their hands and just let Joe Biden get beat? Probably not. It probably means that there is a false flag coming, folks. There's probably a huge event on the horizon that that's intended to shift the election. So be prepared for that. I honestly thought early on that we would see a second round of lockdowns, and we still might. There's going to be a food shortage for sure. It's already here. It's already happening in certain places. But there's an event coming. I don't know what it is, okay? I don't know what that is. Sound like a Civil War train or something. Wow. Phone is dinging. All right, so sorry about that. It's craziness, man. But yeah, there's a false flag event coming. I don't know where it's going to be, and I don't know what it's going to be. But be prepared. I think, and I've been saying all along, sometime in September or very early October, something is going to happen to polarize the country and try and determine the election. So what does this mean if you're a prepper? It means you need to continue to prep your backside off. Continue to get food, continue to get water, continue, if you can find it, to get ammunition, firearms. Secure your home, make sure the locks are good. Do what you got to do. Go ahead and formulate a plan on bunkering in, bugging out, whatever the case may be. Because there may come a point when the police either can't get to you or refuse to come to you, depending on where you live. And it's sad that we live in that kind of a world, but it's a distinct possibility. So I do think something big is on the way. I don't see billionaires just sitting on their hands waiting for the people to actually be in charge of the country the way it's supposed to be. These billionaires have too much to lose. So I believe, especially over on the left, there's some desperation at this point, And I do believe they're going to try and cause some sort of a huge event to kind of sway the elections. So just be watching the news, be on the lookout for it. It's coming, and continue to prep, because once the event happens, again, total panic, total chaos. There's a manufactured food crisis. We all know this. If you follow Ice Age Farmer, you know this already. But I don't think it's going to be here in time for the election. And so they're in panic mode now. They're going to find something else to try and scare the hell out of people with and sway the election. Be on the lookout for it. Continue to prep. Folks, thank you. Our nation hit 15,000 subscribers in the middle of the night. Man, that is awesome. It truly is. It's divine intervention. So continue to support this channel. Please like and subscribe if you have not done so already. The rain's picking up, so I'm going to head inside. But love all of you guys, and God bless each and every one of you.